You are pregnant, Miss Hart. Double quotes. The doctor. Pregnant? Me? No, that wasn't something she was ever supposed to hear in her life. She thought she was, what? Gaining weight again. Yeah, she's been doing that since she was a teenager. Gain, lose, gain again. She never worried. She thought the nausea was because of those late night burgers she kept craving, the mood swings. Just her usual temper, and ignored it all. This was supposed to be a regular checkup. She was here to collect her once in a while health visit reports she do when she remembered to take care of herself. She walked in expecting to be told she needed more vitamins, maybe drink less coffee. Nah, this. Every mother in the world would be glowing right now, crying happy tears, calling their family her. She suddenly wanted to crawl into some corner, wrap herself in a blanket and scream until her lungs gave out. I'm sorry, what? Her voice sounded too thin. Maybe she meant something else. Maybe the doctor said present or pleasant or God, I don't know. You are pregnant. The doctor said politely. He must thought she was taking time to process the happy news. That can't be right. It's impossible. The doctor tilted her head. You weren't expecting this. I assume. That can't be right. It's impossible. The doctor tilted her head. You weren't expecting this. I assume. Expecting. Expecting? No, I wasn't expecting. I'm sorry, I think you might have the wrong file. The denial was safer than reality. The doctor glanced at her tablet. In Hart, 25 years old. Routine checkup. Blood work done last week. Correct? She nodded slowly. Then I'm afraid there's no mix-up. Her mouth opened then closed. She thinks she made a small choking sound. How is that possible? The doctor gave her a curious look, like she was trying to measure how much of her disbelief was genuine and how much was her being dramatic. Were you using any form of contraception? Oh God, here we go. Not exactly, because what was she supposed to say? I haven't exactly been sexually active in years. Hell, I have never been sexually active. Except that one night when my brain went on vacation. When was your last sexual encounter? She stared at the floor. A while ago. How long is a while? She pressed. I don't exactly remember. She didn't look shocked, which somehow made it worse. She just nodded and tapped something on her tablet. It's not uncommon for people to miss the early signs, especially if their cycles are irregular. Cycles. Great, now we were talking about my cycle. I didn't notice anything. I thought I was just, gaining weight. Have you experienced morning sickness? Any unusual cravings? Fatigue? Mood swings? Quotes, yes. Maybe. And definitely, she admitted. But that's just my personality. She smiled again in that I've heard it all way. Miss Hart, you single quotes about 12 weeks along. The symptoms you've described fit perfectly double quotes dway months 3 months since. And just like that, a flash of that night hit her, his hand brushing her cheek, the whisper of her name, his groans, they were all so fresh in her memory. She blinked hard and looked away before the doctor could see her face go hot. Do you want to discuss your options? She asked gently. Parenting, double quote, I need time to think. Of course, I'll print out your results. You might want to schedule a follow-up ultrasound to confirm the due date. She just sat there nodding like a robot. Heart in her throat. She was holding it together in the office, but the second she steps out, she would break. Because that night should never have happened. 3 months ago, she was panicking, stumbling through a crowd of strangers as the music thumped against her skull. The alcohol in her system made everything hazy, like she was underwater. Her head was light. Steps uneven, and she knew if she didn't find her friend soon, she might just collapse somewhere. They were here for her promotion party. A small celebration, they said, but that wasn't small. And she was drinking more than she should have. And now her phone was dead. Her friends vanished into crowd. Great, she scanned the bodice swaying to the music. Just perfect. She pushed past a group of people and ended up in a quieter hallway. Her stomach rolled violently. She needed a bathroom now. She found a door, pushed it open, and stumbled inside. Wrong room, not a bathroom, but some kind of dim lounge. She didn't care as she spotted a small side door rushing in and threw up. She couldn't even make it to the toilet. I shouldn't have drunk that much. But regret always sink in when you have already messed up. When she was sure her stomach was empty, she rinsed her mouth, splashed cold water on her face, and stepped back out into the lounge. She just needed to call a cab, go home, and sleep this disaster off. That was way better than wandering around trying to find her friends, who had apparently disappeared like they'd been swallowed by the Bermuda Triangle. Bad joke. I was definitely too drunk for humor. She glanced around the room, ready to leave, when her nose caught the smell of cigarette curling through the air. She sniffed her arms. She never in her life smoked, so how does she turn around only to find a silhouette leaning against the far wall, half in shadow, one hand casually tucked into his pocket, the other holding a cigarette between long fingers. The smoke curled lazily in front of his face. She flinched. God, you mad? You could have made your presence known instead of just lurking there. He exhaled slowly, the smoke catching the low light. Didn't seem necessary. Double quotes. Her brows furrowed. Excuse me? His gaze finally met hers. Didn't you just barge into my room and start throwing up? I don't remember inviting you in. The shiver that ran down her spine, nothing to do with the cold air. She straightened. I was looking for the bathroom. And I didn't know anyone was here. You didn't knock either. She blinked at him. It's a public place. Not this room, he said lazily, tapping ash into an empty glass. This is VIP. Oh, congratulations. She rolled her eyes. Do you want me to curtsy? Wouldn't hurt. Yeah, well, my balance is questionable right now, she crossed. Her arms his gaze swept over her slow, unhurried in a way that made me want to fidget and melt a puddle on the ground. You lost your way or something. He tilted his head, finally letting the low light catch his face properly, and God help her, he was annoyingly handsome. His jaw was sharp enough to cut glass, lips unfairly full, and his dark hair was messy. The smoke from his cigarette curled lazily between them, almost framing his face like bad boy halo. It was the sort of look that should have set off alarms in her head. Instead, her stupid brain short-circuited. Well, she crossed her arms as if that could keep her from swaying. My friends vanished, my phone's dead. So if you call that getting lost, then, yeah. I guess I am. He's scannily pushing himself off the wall. She realized too late that he was taller than she thought, a lot taller. Now that he wasn't half hidden in the shadows, she saw more of him. The tattoos inked along his forearm disappearing under the rolled-up sleeves of his black shirt. The first two buttons undone, revealing the sharp line of his collarbone, and a thin silver chain dangling just above a smooth, tan chest. There was an eyebrow ring glinting when he tilted his head again. And it has a snake shape. Ouch, she thought that must have hurt. Getting that thing. Everything about him screamed trouble. Trouble. With a capital T, trouble that made a girl cross her legs without even realizing she'd admit that out loud. She was drunk, not suicidal. He reached for the bottle of whiskey on the desk, pouring himself a drink like she wasn't even there, then glanced at her. Want some? Double quote. No, thanks, she said quickly. But water, if you have it? Her eyes drifted around the room half-heartedly. He just sat down on the edge of the bed, legs parting lazily, taking up too much space like men always did. Don't be a guest, he said, nodding toward the corner. Water's over there. Help yourself. Her throat felt like she swallowed a fistful of needles, so she moved toward the small table where a jug and glass sat. The jug was cold under her fingers, condensation beading down the side. Still, she hesitated, holding it to her nose. Is this even safe? She asked suspiciously. No, he said without looking at her, swirling the whiskey in his glass. Drink it and find out. Her brows shot up. Wow, you're so insufferable. That finally made him glance up, one eyebrow arching. I'm insufferable? You're standing in my room, you threw up in my bathroom. And now, you're insulting me every other sentence, talk about being insufferable. Yeah, well, it's not like you're throwing flowers from your mouth, either. She poured herself a glass. Just drink the water and leave, he said flatly. She narrowed her eyes at him over the rim of her glass. What if you don't mix something in it, just saying, guys like you? You're exactly the type to drug someone and sell their organs. That got his attention.
He turned his head slowly, locking eyes with her. Guys like me, you don't even know me, woman.
She shrugged. You look like the type. That tattoo is giving me the creeps. His gaze dropped to his own chest and then back to her. Then why? Are you looking at my chest? Should I call you a pervert? She almost choked. Excuse me, I was looking at your tattoo, which happens to be on my chest. He pointed out smoothly. That doesn't mean I'm a pervert. Heat crawling up her neck. And you have no right to call me one when you don't even know me. His smirk deepened. Exactly. Yet here you are accusing me of. What was it? Oh, right, drugging you and selling your organs. No, that's not. She stopped abruptly when she saw the way he was watching her like he already won. Ooh, you are so annoying. Thought my brain can't handle you right now. She gulped down the water in one go and set the glass down with more force than necessary. When she glanced at him again, his eyes were already on her unblinking. What? She asked defensively. It had poison in it, he said, as if talking about the weather. You might be dead in the next few minutes. Her eyes widened. What? Her hands flew to her throat, fingers pressing against her skin as if she could feel the toxin spreading. Tell me you're joking. Oh my God. She doubled over, coughing, trying to force it out, panic spiking in her chest.
He leaned back on his hands, just watching her. You, she gasped, trying to breathe.
You psychopath. And then he laughed. Not a little chuckle, a full deep laugh that seemed to shake his shoulders. She froze mid-cough, staring at him. Ashley, she spat. You poisoned me. I'll call the police. I'll make them hang you in public. I was messing with you, he said, cutting in her dramatics. She blinked, heat flooding her face, not from the alcohol this time, but pure embarrassment. Straightening, she tried to act like she hadn't just staged full-on death scene. Well, I was just giving you a show. I didn't actually believe you. Sure, he said, voice low like it was meant to curl into her skin. And I'm about to kiss you if you don't leave this room in the next 60 seconds, petal. Her whole body jolted, heat shooting up her neck. What? The corner of his mouth lifted lazily. You heard me. No, I actually didn't. She tried to mask how fast her heart suddenly decided to run. He glanced at his watch, not even blinking. 52 seconds. Her jaw dropped. What the hell, no? You can't be serious. I wouldn't let you kiss me. That maddening smile deepened. Told you, you heard it. Her face went hot. She could feel the flush rising, and it annoyed her even more. You're impossible. No wonder you're hiding, alone in this room like some caveman. 40 seconds, he said. As if she hadn't spoken. He pushed himself off the bed with unhurried grace, towering just a little more with each step forward. Her eyes widened. I'm going, okay? She said quickly, even though her feet betrayed her by, moving backward instead of toward the door like a sensible person. Every step he took forward, she took back her spine, inching toward an inevitable destination. Her pulse was tripping over itself, and not because of the whiskey in her system, though that wasn't helping. Until her back hit the door. Every step he took forward, she took back her spine, inching toward an inevitable destination. Her pulse was tripping over itself, and not because of the whiskey in her system, though that wasn't helping. Until her back hit the door. He slid his hands deeper into his pockets, leaning against nothing but air. I'm not even touching you, petal. And he wasn't. That was the worst part. He didn't have to. His presence alone was enough to make her feel pinned in place. His scent, wood smoke, and whiskey was wrapping around her head, making it hard to think. It was his eyes that undid her. That unhurried, knowing gaze like he was already imagining the taste of her. And it made her insides tighten, in a way she definitely wasn't going to admit out loud. Maybe it was the embarrassment, maybe it was the heat in her cheeks. Maybe it was the liquor whispering, "Do it." Just one. Either way, she leaned forward and kissed him, but just a second before she pulled back. Breath-shaky eyes wide like she just realized what she'd done. She looked at him, and he was not even dazed, same unreadable expression sat on his face. As if her lips on his wasn't something to be surprised by at all. Her stomach flipped violently, every nerve in her body felt awake, skin buzzing with the aftershock. God, what the hell did I just do? Her mouth opened ready to say something stupid. Something that would make this whole moment crumble into awkward laughter, but nothing coherent came out. She spun toward the door, desperate to escape the heat still clinging to her. "Wrong move," he said. Her hand froze on the doorknob. Then he finally moved as the clock ticked the full 60-second. His mouth crashed into hers with a force that made her gasp, stealing the breath. No, this wasn't a joke, it felt like he wanted to devour her whole. His hand slid into her hair, angling her head so she couldn't pull away, and the heat of him pressed against her like he owned the space between them. She wasn't lying when she thought she'd never been kissed like that before. No one had ever taken her apart so quickly with just their mouth. He pulled back slowly, his lips lingering a fraction longer than necessary, eyes locked on hers. Last chance. Walk away now. Pretend nothing happened. Her head felt dizzy, part alcohol, part the wildfire spreading in her veins. The heat of her mouth still burned on hers, making her stomach tighten in ways she didn't want to think about. She swallowed hard but didn't move toward the door. Something in his gaze flickered, something darker. He tilted his head slightly, studying her like she was a puzzle. "You have .10 seconds, double quotes, her brow furrowed. 10 seconds for what?" "To make a choice." His voice was low, almost dangerous in its calm. "Walk out and forget this happened. Or stay, and don't blame me for what comes next, double quote. Her throat caught.
9.
She blinked at him. "Are you actually counting?" 8. A faint smirk touched his lips, like he was enjoying every twitch of uncertainty in her Her chest rose sharply. "You're insane." 7. He took a step closer, closing the distance. "Stop it." Her voice lacked conviction. 6. His eyes dropped briefly to her mouth. Her pulse jumped. "Seriously, this is ridiculous. I wasn't even supposed to be here now. I have man counting numbers on me." 5. His tone was almost gentle now, but there was no softness in his gaze. Without realizing, heat crawling up her neck. 4. She shifted on her feet. "You don't even know me." 3. "I've never—" She stopped herself, cheeks flaming. 2. He murmured, "I can tell." Her eyes narrowed in embarrassed defiance. "You're not that special, just informing you. You happen to be here when I'm lost. Okay? Don't read into it." 1. He leaned in slightly, close enough for her to feel the faint warmth of his breath. "This only happens if you want it. You have an option: walk out that door and never look back. But if you stay—" His gaze dropped to her lips for the briefest moment, then back to her eyes. "You know exactly what's going to happen. And I'm telling you beforehand." His voice dipped. "I'm no gentleman, Petal." Her heart pounded so loudly she barely heard herself when she blurted, "How many women do you count down trap like this?"
He didn't even blink. "That's not what I asked."
She swallowed. "It's what I'm asking." He tilted his head. "None. You're the first one reckless enough to stay this long in front of me." Then more firmly he added, "Do you?" Her throat bobbed. "Layer, you look quite experienced. Do you?" He pressed like he already knew the answer but wanted to hear it from her lips. Her pulse skittered. Every rational thought screamed at her to walk away. But the alcohol, the heat, the way his voice wrapped around her, it all drowned out the sensible part of her brain. She nodded once. "Yes." His smirk deepened, but his voice stayed even. "Yes, what, Petal?" "Yes," she said again, firmer this time. "I want to." He studied her a beat longer, as if double-checking she meant it, Then Dot, his mouth curved into something between approval and hunger. Good. His hand was at her jaw, tilting her face up, and his mouth found hers again, but this time there was no testing. It was a crash of Dot heat and want, and she melted into it, willingly gripping his shirt. Everything blurred after that. When she woke, the early blue of Dot morning slipping through the blinds. The other side of the bed was Dot empty. She didn't regret the night, not for a second. She knew what she Dot did. She knew she'd said yes. She knew she'd let herself get lost in him, and she'd meant every Dot moment. Until today. Now, the weight and regret of it pulling in from Dot all corners.